It's a good day.
Welcome everybody to Freedom Friday. I am so excited to be live at the Big White Barn at Baker Farmhouse with Kelei Baker Leak, one of my sweet, sweet, sweet collaborators and friends. I'm getting teary. We both are. It's a great way to start this out. Oh, so one of the reasons why I really wanted to host you was, first of all, just to show what we've been doing here with this space, your magical space that's been waiting for this transformation.
It has.
And for the rebirth that's coming way. We'll get to that eventually. But also, Kelei, I can't stop thinking about thinking. I can't stop thinking about thinking.
Really?
Imagine that. So I am teaching Digesting the Universe, and very recently I had my mind and metabolism function class, and every time I teach that, it always becomes such an opportunity and a challenge of how am I going to talk about thinking without making everybody feel completely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been several things that have evolved since I started opening up to that, and especially being in fall right now, because this concept that fall is about the season of letting go, that also has gotten me thinking about letting go and thinking about the words letting go and what that makes me feel and how that makes me feel more stuck and blah, 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 blah. So what I began to see for myself is these patterns of like, yes, obviously we're all thinking creatures. That's part of our human nature. And how powerful our thoughts are creating our reality all the time. Of course, that's based upon our beliefs and emotions. So the key point that really empowers us here is that we have a choice, right? We can choose to go down a certain path of certain thoughts, or we can choose to align with another path. And both of those things are always available to us in each moment. So like step one, of course, is becoming conscious and aware of these patterns that are happening. And step two is really stepping into that power of like, oh wow, I have a choice. And then step three becomes, all right, so how do I break that old pattern that's so anchored in me, that sucks me down this other path, that blah, 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 and open up to this other possibility of these thoughts that create so much more ease and flow and grace in my life. So before I go any further down that rabbit hole, I'd love to hear your perspective, because that really is a lot of what you do at Enlightened Steps.
It is, and so many of us are conditioned and taught to stay in our logical left brain, and we work the problems, we think about them, we remember them. Our critical editor, I think, is housed up here because it reminds you of all the mistakes that you did, so don't do that. And so a lot of people are suffering from burnout, and in this time we're dealing with a pandemic, and we've got fear upon fear upon fear, or anxiety, and so some of those habits, those old ways of being, how they were born in us was our body needed self-soothing. If you think about somebody who was smoking, and they know they shouldn't do it, and it's a choice, and they feel like they are out of their own power. They can't make that choice. Well, they're actually fighting their own body, because the body perceives that smoking as, that's the only time you get up from your desk and you go outside and you breathe deep and you talk to your friends, so I can't let that go.
Wow.
So the body holds it, and the emotions are holding it, and sometimes we're using things like that to stuff our emotions. And so when we bring some balance back, we get this a little quiet, and we don't have to do everything in that conscious place. Sometimes when we relax, we meditate, we connect in with that inner self, we are also connecting into our beautiful hardwired system of emotions. And when we start connecting to them, a lot of us are just afraid of them. But when you let them come in, through and out, and you ask questions, and that also involves the throat. Because when we're stuffing emotions, we don't talk about things, and our body starts to get sick. It will react. And so in this time, what you do is so powerful, because the body systems, the times of things, what's processing in your body, and why is it getting stuck.
Right.
We have to set that pace within that mind, because when we set it, the body follows.
Yes.
And that's powerful. And it's loving.
It is. And one thing I just want to tap into that you said is, it is our natural state to be in this place of just open, flowing, connected to our highest self. It actually is against ourself when we're in that state of like fight or flight and looking for problems and fear. So that's always like in the background, right? That truth of who we are is in the background. So it becomes like, how can we tap into and activate that and connect in and anchor into that place of peace, and slowly but surely separate from those other ways that we, at some point we needed those, to survive.
Yeah.
And part of the piece that I was exploring in my class is like, wow, so both of those things exist, right? That's the wholeness of it all. That's natural law. If you've got something, it's equal and opposite exists. But then that's where the choice point comes. Like, I'm not denying that there hasn't been this traumatic pattern that's been set into place and embodied. I'm just saying that there's this other possibility that exists too. I'm going to not put all my energy and focus over here. I'm going to put all of my energy and focus on this other path, and really, knowing that that is within the core of my being. And even like one of the things I had thought about before we met is like the cellular embodiment. At some point we had a connection with that place of peace, with that place of joy, that place of flow. So how can we really activate and connect into that so we can embody it more on our day-to-day?
Well, and joy, I'm so glad you said that, because a lot of us have lost that feeling of joy, and happy has been diminished, and you look to television or all the things that your phone brings to you. It's all about the worst of the worst, and so we're being besieged with all of this negative, and we become disempowered. And I have been on a cause here. Power is love. People think of power as, conquering, taking someone else's energy, or, or defending or fighting. And I want people to hold that is the most powerful thing, and it's love. And love and joy, they circle around. And when we stop focusing on that negative, that narrative, which starts changing our own inner story, and we become part of that narrative, but what if we turn our sights onto what's really bringing me joy? And it may be a new bar of soap. It can be that simple. But doting on ourselves with the smallest of things, a little pumpkin. I had so much fun with these pumpkins. But bring things that remind you, I am on that path, and I'm going to keep my joy in front of me every day. And if we thought about that every moment, this starts to just disappear, and things just start to show up. And people show up, friends show up. But we've got to be honest, and we got to go in, and we've got to kind of connect, peel our own onion, and not get stuck in that victim story, because we all have them, and boy, we can pull them out and play them so quickly. And then all of a sudden, well, that's the reason why, and that happened, and this and that, and then you're living either in the past, or you're freaked out about the future, and you've missed the entire moment. And this is it. You and I are in this moment together, sending our love, trying to raise the vibration. Well, we're not trying. We are
raising the vibration.
That vibration. And with that, we feel our hearts connect, and we trust. The universe isn't against us. It's truly conspiring with us.
Yes.
And when we let that in, we welcome the lessons, And that can be sometimes a hard path, but you've learned and there's wisdom. And when that's there, you can share it and we move on. And we hold love and light that we heal this earth. We heal ourselves. We hold the light for somebody else who's trying to find that place. We are changing the world. And we are the ripple. And when we own that, it's not to be afraid of it. It's to be lifted by it. It's to be empowered by that love. And when you say the word love, you can feel it resonate within your body. And cellularly, just it moves things. And once you let it go in through all of you, you can push it out. And you can give it. And it's not the kind of love that hangs on to somebody and I can't love myself, but I'm going to love you, and you're going to make up for all the things that I can't do for myself. It's, you got to put the mask, it's the flying stewardess thing, but you got to put the mask on you first. And then when you do, you can save others. You can make a difference.
Inspire others, right?
Yes.
Right.
You pulled that out of my head.
Yeah. Just through authentically owning that in your own being. So, so powerful.
Think if I'm amazed at how work is going. There's this great resignation happening, and I think it's perfect and it's timely. People are saying, I live to work. That was kind of our methodology. And I was taught by some of my employees who were from overseas. They said, you people, we work to live. And think about that. The people are changing. They're evolving. We're leveling up. And if we look at it as that, we don't get to sit in fear. There's a lot of fear mongering right now, but just look at history. It's been here all along, and chaos has been here all along. And I say, don't fear chaos. Dance with it.
I love it, and that's one of the things that keeps percolating up for me is that when we speak about this doesn't mean like, okay, I'm going to make this choice to choose love, and then I'm never going to see that other side of things ever again. That's not the case. It's going, you're going to continue to have these opportunities to tap into wisdom through those experiences. But the key is you get to do so from a different perspective, from an empowered perspective. So that becomes the difference, and that becomes the opportunity. And that reminds me of one of the practices we're doing in morning qigong is like a tango-like move, right? That's the higher level dance. And this organ system, I had spoken to you before about the season of letting go, fall along in the large intestine. The words that I've been shifting is I'm clearing the way for, because instead of focusing on I'm letting go of, let's say, self-sabotage, right? That just anchors me into the issue, and then I can replay all the stories of myself sabotaging versus like I'm clearing the way for abundant self-love. I'm clearing the way for, such a different feel, yet we're still making that conscious shift. In our mindset. So
and it's the words that we feed ourselves. I mean, we can be so ruthless to self. When you get up in the morning, we can be so ruthless with ourselves and how we speak to ourselves. We look and focus on all the flaws. We can. It's good to be aware of your voice in your mind, because it can be debilitating. And two, you can be nice to everyone on the outside, but if you're not nice here, if you're not loving here, how do you think your message is really coming out? How do you think you're perceived by others? So you've got to, and loving self, that's a hard one. We're going to spend our whole lives trying to figure that out completely. But we get to, and in each stage, we call it kind of leveling up, but we learn a little more, we practice a little more, and we are lifted by that. And you had said something that just triggered in my head. I find that when I'm working with clients, and they'll come in, and they will present something that they're working on that, oh, by the way, I'm working on.
Yeah.
And it's like, is this just so funny?
Yes.
And so by helping them, because you can put your, what you can give it to them, but I realize in that whole practice that I thank them because they're reminding me of the things that I'm working on.
Yeah. Yeah, so beautiful. So even though, yes, Kelei and I do this for our work, we're still calling these things into our lives all the time. So just using your awareness and shifting your awareness to see, like, when in relationship, whether it's a work relationship or a partner relationship or, with your siblings, your parents, all of these are those opportunities where you get to see what you're working on from another angle. Which kind of brings me to, on November 13th, what we are going to be doing right here in this beautiful space. So it's the rebirth of the Conscious Community Collaborative with our event, Let in the Light, rewriting your relationships through the language of love, which is really, piece of what we're speaking about right now is how do we do that practically? How do we connect into that? I would love to hear from you, your reflection on, she's going to be one of the collaborators for the event that day. What you'll be bringing.
Oh, we'll be bringing all kinds of magic, and I like to use the word magic because sometimes when it comes and it resonates in here, it feels like magic. And I like to call it magic because when you get those aha moments, it lives, and it's not as hard as you thought. And it's sometimes realizing this is easier than I thought. I have been working so hard at things, trying to drive it through. And it can be way easier than you think. And by just a shift, by support. And so we have Paula Lord and Colette Pellissier, I think it was said that correctly. And we are pulling together to create a wonderful journey. And I don't want to give too much of it away.
Just a teaser, please.
It will be about connecting these relationships. Working on the first relationship with self, and then moving into, we're going to have some art, we're going to release some things, and whatever it is that we choose within ourselves to let it go, and we will have wonderful movement by Paula, and Colette is just, she's such a wonderful, divine individual who has a vast knowledge of so many modalities. So we're going to be using some magic, and I will take you on a journey, quite possibly here, and then maybe what you want to create and feel like in your future. And it's just the next second. So you don't have to get too wigged out about all the way down. And I think this is my attempt at shabby barn chic, but I was putting these up and I thought, well, I'll do a straight line, and then it was like, hey, I can't do a straight line. You should see how I mow the grass. My husband just scratches his head and goes, just do it.
She gets it done.
So we did this. Everything just reminded me. There are crossroads. There are times when you're just spinning, and then there are moments when the light sets. That awareness sets. So we want you to come out, experience this. It's all going to be in the barn, so we want you to dress for the weather. And today we've got this lovely great drizzle, but we will have accommodations, and we're gonna connect into the light and our relationships with self and each other.
Yeah, one of the things that I love that you touched on, and it's so powerful when we collaborate together, is that we're weaving in so many different elements, right? So it's exploring these concepts, but then there's the next level. When you start to explore this stuff, a lot of emotions, a lot can come up. So it's how do we dance with that? How do we move with that, quite literally? and then bringing in the elements of the creative expression through the art. So there's so many different pieces that we're weaving together. And I'm aware that I have titled this Freedom Friday Hypnosis and Self-Hypnosis, and I haven't used those words, but I've been talking about it. So I'd love you to speak specifically to those words to help people who are watching understand that that's what we've been talking about the whole time.
Well, the difference between meditation and hypnosis is meditation is where you're taking a journey, and it's usually to still the mind and quiet and connect into self, or connect into a story that you're hearing. With hypnosis, we utilize that, but we take you a little deeper. That doesn't mean you're asleep. Actually, we bring the mind, active mind, kind of comes up, and it's quite free to converse, to move, and we start working on those areas that you're wanting to bring change into your life. But as I practice, we peel that onion first. We got to figure out what it is. And sometimes if you're clueless, well, trust me, if you get relaxed and that mind frees up and it's not busy and looping and worrying about the laundry, you can hear yourself. You can connect into that inner spirit that has the answers. And it's so amazing because people just getting quiet into that space, asking the questions. So sometimes I ask the question that they want asked when they're in that space, and it's like, oh my gosh, I need to do and they've got it. They know what it is. So sometimes we're thinking too hard all the time, so it's getting there. So hypnosis is we do something.
Yeah.
So it's where you can take action, and the body is in sync with the mind, and so we're calm, we're relaxed. And then self-hypnosis is powerful as well. It's where I teach some of those where you go in, you go through your body, you relax it, you let the body relax, and then opening the mind up. I tend to call this, like, whether it's hypnosis or self-hypnosis, we become an intronaut, not an astronaut.
Intronaut.
An intronaut, and we're going into the innerverse, which is just as expansive as the universe. And in fact, in my head, I see it as if we just go in so deep that it just comes out and it connects, and I feel it's just kind of like that infinity sign. But be an intronaut, go in, explore, connect, feel, and find what resonates. And that's what we do in hypnosis. When we teach with self-hypnosis, you can calm yourself. You can get into that peaceful place where you can connect on a cellular level even.
Yeah.
So health, oh my heavens, I love to work with people who are working with extreme health conditions, and I don't even like to say the words. So it's how do we set the mind to create that healthy body? So do you want to set it to have a fight with whatever's going on inside, or do you want it just to not be there?
Yeah.
And so how do we just set the intention and deliver it? Now, that's a big task, and we're all human, and we know we're carbon units. We are not going to last forever, so we all have expiration dates, and we don't know when that's going to happen, and thankfully, we don't know. But while we're here, as long as we create joy and connect with this body and love it and be kind to it, as long as we have, that's all we can do.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. And you really just came full circle with where we started, right? At the center of our being, we are peaceful, joyful beings.
Yeah.
That's the truth of who we are. And for all these various different reasons, and especially under the intensity of these circumstances, we've lost connection.
Yeah.
So it's just about returning to that place again and again and again, consciously making that choice, energizing that choice. And So, this has been such a pleasure sharing with you, and I am so excited. Our event will be on November 13th, live here. I'll put the details in the comments. So join us.
It's be fun.
All right. Thank you.